Andy B here, still at the gathering in a field near Swindon with Christian Vision for Men. We're carrying on through to 11 o'clock for some more interviews for you. And I've been brought a very lovely chap named of Michael from CVM. So hello, Michael.
Hello. How are you?
I'm doing all right. I'm loving doing the live radio. It's tiring, exhilarating, all at the same time. What's your role within CVM?
Okay, so I'm now just a volunteer. I say just a volunteer. I used to work full-time for CVM up until COVID, and then we had a little bit of a reorg at CVM. I'm now working for an organisation called Church Army, but I volunteer for CVM in the south of England as their network enabler.
Okay, fab. What have you been doing on site over this weekend then? What, have you had a particular area of responsibility, or is it all sort of, get whatever done that needs to be happened?
Yeah, it's pretty much that, really. Do whatever needs doing. My caravan is currently being used as the dressing room for Madness, or the tribute band that's on stage at the moment. And I get to just go around helping out on the stand, helping out with any jobs that need doing. So just anything, really. Yeah.
The gathering for me is a brand new event. I've not been before. I've not been to anything like this before. My last festival experience probably would be Greenbelt in the late 80s, which was a whole different thing. That's more aimed at youth, teenagers in particular in the Midlands. But this is something else. How would you begin to describe what this is? And I've been asking this question all day, and people have given me so many different answers. But how would you try and describe it?
So you may have had this answer already, but it has been described as a cross between Top Gear and Songs of Praise, because it's got a Christian element to it. Of course, we're very much about proclaiming the gospel, but we've also got some mad stuff going on as well. So lots of fun men's stuff. How would I describe it? It's very, very different, isn't it? There is a clear gospel focus, but there's lots of banter, lots of fun, sports, comedy. There's a bar, there's food vans, there's inflatables. It's just pretty indescribable, really. If you've not been, you wouldn't really understand what it was about, would you?
I think that probably sums it up well. How do you describe the indescribable? Yeah. Do you know what? Just get yourself down and come. Have you got some highlights over this weekend? I know we're only on day 2 of 3, but have you got a highlight so far? You think, that was a good moment for me.
I think the highlight is always very similar, and that's when we invite guys to come down to the front to make a commitment, either for a first time or to recommit themselves, and you just get floods and floods of guys coming down, kneeling before the cross, and being prayed for, and just seeing release and peace and just transformation. It's just such an incredible privilege to be part of that. So every year that is always the highlight. The fun and the laughter, the banter's great, but just to see the impact that the gospel has on guys, it's just amazing.
I was only seeing through a tiny bit of the screen that I can see through a camera that was showing a part of the stage. All I saw was an awful lot of guys coming forward. It was emotional for me just sitting watching the little bit of screen I can see through a column here in the big tent. Do you know how many guys came forward?
We did a quick sort of guesstimate, 80 to 90 guys, I think. And we had a similar call this morning, and there were probably 20 or 30 guys came forward this morning. I suspect we'll have a similar number again tomorrow. I mean, God is just so good and so faithful, and but it's not about the numbers; it's about the impact, isn't it? Really, and the transformation in those individuals' lives. Probably 80 to 90, I think.
Yeah, I think that's the point. Numbers aren't really the goal. We don't look at how many listeners we got. I don't really care. Are we doing what God's asking us to do? But numbers should be part of that, so we're seeing numbers grow. But in the same way, it's not the number of Christians suddenly that have happened, actually. But at the same time, the fact that's happening is such testimony of everything that's going on, all the prayer and the effort to try and show Jesus in a really authentic way to guys who maybe have rejected Jesus, maybe they've never met him before, maybe it is that recommitment, but it's just this whole atmosphere is all part and parcel of the same thing. Like you say, it's that transformation of people's lives.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it's the environment that's been created in this event over the years that just allows men to feel in a place where they can make those decisions, where they can be open, honest, and it's not weird. It's not perhaps atypical of a Christian event. There is lots of banter, but it's just such a relaxed and natural environment in which to open your heart and to allow God to do great stuff. So.
We've been really privileged working for CVM a little bit and going around the site and asking people yesterday, what are you looking forward to today? what are your thoughts on this? And the one thing that comes up time and time again, which is so, I don't know, exhilarating, exciting, is people saying, this is my highlight. I look forward to this every year. I can go another year, and I'm looking forward to the one next year, because it just impacts people, and it is that transformation in the most natural of ways. Like I say, not necessarily what you see at other Christian festivals and conventions, but you know what? There's something about this which is really cool.
Yeah, so I mentioned at the start that I've been working with Church Army for a while, and I've got a particular role within Church Army at events. I'm part of the events team, and I can honestly say that all the events that I've been to with Church Army over the year, there's none quite like this. It is just very special in the way it impacts guys, and there's no sort of contrivedness about it. I'm not suggesting that's the case at other festivals, but it's just so natural and so relaxed. And people just come every year, look forward to it. As you say, it's a highlight for them. They bring their mates. For some, it is, just the thing they tick off the days on the calendar for. It's amazing.
The other comment that kept on coming up was people who said, what I come for? The one thing they said, 2,000 guys in a tent singing to God. Yeah. That is what it is. How have you found the worship this year?
Oh, I love it. Yeah, I can lose myself in that. Many of us can't we? Where those voices are just ringing out in praise of God, and the from the front being led by a fantastic band. The noise in that place is just so special. It's the closest I think you can get to what heaven's going to be like when we're there in the presence of Jesus and we're singing his praises. I think that's about the closest you can get to what it's going to be like. It's going to be a million times better, but I reckon that's as close as you can get to it on earth.
Let's just go back to the fact that the guys come to the front, because I think it's just worth unpacking that briefly. It made me very excited to see, working with children's ministry, if a child wants to follow Jesus, if an adult wants to follow Jesus, that's what you try and do all the hard work for. But I think for me, no one's been forced. This isn't something like you must come to the front. These are guys who want to do it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, there is no sort of people just start trickling forward, and then there's a flood of people, and there isn't. It's not a hard sell. It's just an invitation, a genuine invitation, brought about by the power of the gospel. When the gospel's preached and people's hearts are sort of softened, then these things happen, don't they?
There was a guy that came to talk to me earlier on, just sat down next to us here at the station, and he was just chatting to me. In 2019, he came to faith, and it was this journey of hard life. He came here, he was sort of going to go to the front, then he didn't, then he was, then he wouldn't, and then he finally did, and his life just went, the whole trajectory of his life transformed. I've never met him. He just came and sat and had a chat with me. There's so much synergy between us with issues with his heart. I've got some issues in mind. But just chatting to him, and it just is welling up, because coming here was part of his journey. How would you encourage people to come to this? You think, that's not my thing. I don't like church. I don't like religion stuff. What would you say to people that are listening saying, that's not for me? How would you say to them, you need to come?
Yeah, I mean, that is really such a tough question, because that's been part of my what I've been doing at CVM over the years, is trying to encourage people to engage with the stuff that we do. And until you can get them across the line to the event to experience it, then you're never going to be able to sell it sufficiently. I would just say, give it a go. Try it. What do you got to lose, really? It's a couple of days, and you don't even, if you're concerned about you're being sort of forced or any coercion or whatever, you can check out of that stuff. You can go and buy yourself a coffee, or you can go on the inflatable. You can do all these other things. You don't have to sit there if you feel uncomfortable, but actually you won't, because it's just such a wonderful occasion. How else can I sell it? Yeah.
I was listening to some of the stuff that Carl was saying. I think what struck me was, he was saying, look, this is my life. This is my story. This is God in my life. And that truth, that testimony, that story, that I think is such a powerful tool for the gospel. And here's the thing, every single one of us has got a story to tell. We don't need to be the Carl Beach of the world, which is exactly what he was saying, actually. We've all got that message, haven't we?
Yeah, we have. And in my early time at CVM, I used to listen to people on the stage with stories that blew you away. And you used to sort of, I used to think, well, I haven't got a story like that. But as you say, everyone has a story which is equally as valid in God's eyes. And where it's a story of transformation, then it's no different from these radical transformations that we've sort of witnessed from the front. So yeah, everyone has a story, worth telling, and it's a joy to hear. I mean, there was a fairly simple one on the Friday evening. I don't know if you heard Jeremy's story. Just an ordinary guy who'd been brought up in a Christian home, who didn't have a great sort of Emmaus Road type, a Damascus Road, I should say, transformation. It was just a very organic, but equally, lovely story from a guy that's now walking with the Lord. So, yeah.
Wherever we're coming from, we're made with purpose, and God makes us on purpose, and I really believe that. So wherever you are, if you're listening to this, if you've not come to the gathering, get yourself booked in for 2025. Can you give us the website for people to find out more about this for next year?
Yeah, simply cvm.org.uk, and you'll find all the details on there.
Thank you. Michael, it's been a privilege and a pleasure. Thank you for talking to me tonight.
You're very welcome.
We kept going because we wanted to talk to some of the guys from here. It's been fabulous. We've absolutely loved it. I hope they can want us back next year because we want to come back. It's brilliant.
We'd love to have you back. Yeah.
Right, cool. Right. We're going to go to some more music, and we'll be back in a little while.
Did you know Pure 24/7 Radio has a shop? Well, we do. You can buy merchandise while supporting the work that we do here. Simply head over to www.pure247radio.org/shop. That's www.pure247radio.org/shop.